You only lose if you quit. I start my day with victories. To sacrifice like 2 years of your life just going through complete hell. Yeah, so James Reynolds, I'm the founder and CEO of Benefit Medical Apparel. So just in short, we're basically, so everybody calls us kind of like the Lululemon of scrubs, like the Under Armour or Nike of scrubs. So how the company itself got started is I myself used to have to wear scrubs. I was in pharmacy school, and I was a personal trainer as well in college, and I just hated how my scrubs fit, how they looked. So I just started looking around and was like, I wonder if anybody makes like cool scrubs, and no one made any cool scrubs. So I was like, whatever. I know nothing about scrubs or apparel or anything of that nature. Like I said, I was going to school to legally sell drugs, and so I just started going around to local fabric stores and playing with fabrics and kind of looking at my own workout apparel and kind of teaching myself about stitching and textiles and fabric blends and stuff like that. And then that's kind of how I got into it. But backtrack to, you guys said you want to start like the beginning. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be super
I
in
won't,
depth, but
yeah, I won't get
just a general
super in depth.
background. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in Oklahoma. Like you mentioned, I'll have 15 years in the United States Air Force or Air National Guard out of Oklahoma in May. I'm actually deploying next year. I got another deployment coming
Oh
up.
wow.
Yeah, I haven't been. So I've been on one deployment before overseas. It was 10 years ago, and I was 22, young kid. And I don't know, how old are you guys? Probably around that age, maybe
I'm
25.
22. Yeah.
22.
So
Yep.
yeah, so yeah, I was overseas at your age, right? Learning the ropes and seeing all kinds of crazy stuff. So
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
military, I do I don't do any like crazy combat stuff. I do
Hmm.
engineering and installations. So basically, what we'll do is we'll go look at infrastructure that's being built, like buildings and stuff like that, and we'll go design and engineer all the comm work that goes into it, and then we'll actually go install it all as well. So like comm rooms, copper, fiber optic, stuff like that. Sometimes we work on towers and deal with antennas and radios, so it's completely different than what I do on the business
Yeah.
side. So,
No kidding.
but
Now, so I mean, did you get it like a family member in the military or something like that?
so
A
actually,
parent?
so I'm the youngest of seven kids, and
Oh,
Oh
three of my
wow.
brothers are also in the military. Well, one of them's out now; he's retired, but I'm the
Okay.
youngest, and so I still have two brothers that are still in. They're a little bit more active into it. One of them's full time. He's like super high ranking. But I just do it kind of. Everybody always asks like, why'd you stay in the military with your business? I was like, I don't know. I just kind of like it. Like it's completely different than what I do on the business side of things. It's like a complete change of pace. So, and I got a good military family, so it's fun. But yeah, that's kind of my military background. I'll probably retire after 20 years. We'll see, just because like I'm kind of past the point of no return at this point, and just
Yeah.
continue to do my business stuff. But yeah, so Benefit got started. Just I saw a need and I saw a problem, and I back to what I remember because all the scrubs I had at the pharmacy I was working at the time I was issued, and so I never had like an option to buy my own scrubs, and so I kind of did a lot of research into the marketing of scrubs and like how like where were scrubs sold, where do they purchase them, kind of price points, stuff like that. Just a lot of market industry research. So like I said, I didn't know anything about that industry. I just wore scrubs. And after I kind of got a lot of data together and then figured out like no one was marketing scrubs. Like, have you ever heard like a scrub commercial or like seen a scrub commercial or heard like a radio ad?
Yeah.
Like, no, it's just like, it was
No.
like, okay, here's where you work. You have to wear this color scrubs. Go to the local scrub store and buy them, or your hospital will give them to you, basically. And it was just like a crazy untapped industry that was so boring and no one like looked at it for anything. So I was like, I'm gonna make scrubs cool, and so I started playing with the fabrics, like I said, and started messing with stitching, kind of teaching myself. This was all in 2015 was when I started this journey,
Okay.
and
How old were you at that time?
so I was 25 at the time.
25.
And
Okay.
like you guys know, as entrepreneurs, younger entrepreneurs, you guys still have like so much that you're gonna experience up till you're 30. Like you're just getting started. Like you're
Yeah.
so young in the game. I wish I would have started earlier. I regret it, but I always had that feeling like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like I didn't get fulfilled out of anything that I did, and so I was like,
Right.
something's missing, and that's why I made the decision. So I was like, whatever, I'll just try this and try to teach myself business and see where it goes. And so all of 2015 was kind of like business 101 for me, like just teaching myself basics. And how I actually kind of taught myself like the basics was, I'm sure you guys have seen the show Shark Tank.
Oh yeah.
I used to watch Shark Tank, and it's super intriguing to me, just valuations and stuff like that. And anytime I didn't know something, I would just write it down and Google it later. It was like my homework. And so I was like, if they're asking all these questions, they probably matter in a business, like all these numbers and valuations and margins and stuff like that. And so I just kind of taught myself the basics of what mattered in a business to help it thrive and to
Hmm.
actually be able to scale it.
Interesting. Now, like, what like sources of like where were you getting all your knowledge from for business? Obviously, it couldn't have been just from the show, right? Like, were you reading books
No.
or like
So
anything like that?
up until I was like 25, I did not read like hardly any books like after
Hmm.
high school, which is most people. And I just hated reading. I despised it. Around that time, more podcasts and stuff started coming out too, so that was good. But I realized that I was, and all the you see all the business gurus online. They're like, read, read, read. So I was like, well, I guess I better learn how to read, not learn how to read, but I best I better put reading into my life.
Right,
And
right.
so I actually, when we started the company, I bought like just like 100 or so random books on Amazon, just all kinds of random stuff, like apparel stuff, business stuff, money stuff. I still have most of the books today, just all kinds of random entrepreneur stuff. And I probably have read maybe half of them since then, but I still got a lot to go. But yeah, just kind of teaching myself and learning about other people's journeys and their experiences and kind of what they focused on. And a lot of during my journey, I found my true passion was like marketing. Like I really enjoyed the psychology behind marketing, what made people tick,
Hmm.
made people make decisions online, and just kind of like all the intricacies that went into making people feel a certain way in order to get them involved in your brand or by actually give you their money.
Yeah.
And I got really intrigued by all that, and so I did a lot of marketing stuff. I took a lot of courses online for marketing. If you guys ever need some good courses, like if you're looking to go down that route for digital marketing stuff,
Oh yeah, yeah.
have a lot of good
Of course.
recommendations that are pretty cheap that you'll just pull so many nuggets from, and you'll apply them to
Yeah.
your business and just see crazy scale. But yeah, I took a
Wow.
bunch of online marketing courses. I got really good at digital marketing. Taught myself a lot of social platform marketing, Instagram, Facebook. TikTok wasn't out at the time. A little bit of
Hmm.
Twitter, not much. Google Ads, SEO, just all the basics that go into driving traffic and actually building out funnels and actually leading people down a journey of a funnel and getting them to actually convert and not just show them an ad and hope they buy.
Mm.
And just got really good at all the intricacies of that. And that's how I got really good at digital marketing. And as I mentioned earlier, like no one was marketing scrubs at the time. So I was like, well, if I'm going to create this company out of nothing, brand new product, brand new concept to an industry that's never seen anything like this before, I'm going to be really loud and just introduce a new type of marketing that is completely different from anything that anybody else does. So adding into my like military humor and just kind of my personality, we just started doing like Dollar Shave Club type marketing.
Hmm.
And our first video that released, I have a good buddy of mine. He films for a lot of big names, and he's just a video wizard guru in terms of script writing and filming and putting stuff together. I've actually known him since I was 5. His name's Roman, and we put together our first big like commercial. And now at this time, I knew how to kind of make things blow up a little bit online, and we put it out there and just threw some gasoline on it. And I think within like this was like right after we launched, like within a week, I think we had like 1 million views or something, and then just kind of went crazy. It actually is it's an evergreen ad. It still runs to this day, and it has over like 20 million views now. Yeah, something crazy like that.
Wow.
Yeah, just blowing
That's
stuff,
insane.
just the intricacies that go into blowing stuff up like that, and how much power it has. And yeah, I just enjoyed that part of it, and at the end of the day, if you offer a good product, good customer service, and then good marketing, your website's good online, you'll be successful. But there's a lot that goes into that, obviously, like a lot of testing and a lot of trial and error and a lot of failing.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, no. Now, did you start this on your own, or did you have a business partner at the time?
So when I first started it, I started on my own. I had a buddy that wanted to start a athletic clothing line, probably similar to you guys, just kind of workout clothes.
Hmm.
And I pitched the idea to him. I said, "What do you think about like workout scrubs? Like scrubs you can actually work out in and be physically active in." He's like, "Oh, that's a cool idea. That's kind of what I wanted to do. We'll figure it out." And so he lasted about 3 months, 6 months, and then he wanted to go start a different type of company. So he didn't pursue it with me. And then I had another business partner buy in kind of early and give a little bit of money for funding to get the thing off the ground. but he recently departed. And then so it's right now it's me, my brother's my COO. He does all my numbers and my forecasting and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
then one of our good buddies that's an attorney is our financial guy. And so just
Right,
us
right.
three, and then we have I outsource a lot of stuff, and then I have my warehouse workers and stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's it. I mean, geez. So it's been how many years since you launched it?
So we fully launched in 2016, and I'll tell you the story of how like we came to market. It's pretty interesting because we did it with no money, hardly, and yeah, roughly 6 years. It'll be 7 years next year. We've been in
Okay.
business.
All right. Yeah.
And so basically, after I started playing with the fabrics and kind of teaching myself, I was like, okay, I found some cool fabrics that kind of feel cool. I need to find somebody to make scrubs out of these, basically. So I took the fabrics. Somebody gave me the name of like a local seamstress old lady that worked out of her apartment, and took her the fabrics, got hooked up with her, and brought her all these fabrics. And I was like, hey, can you make scrubs out of these? And she's like, do you have a pattern? And I was like, what's a pattern? Do you guys know what a pattern is? It's basically like do-it-yourself clothing. Like it's a little
Okay.
blueprint package, and it'll be like cut here, sew here, stitch here, and when you follow
Ah.
all the steps, you have your apparel. And I didn't know that, so she goes, "Go down to the store, Hobby Lobby, and go grab a scrub pattern, bring it back to me, and then I'll make you some scrubs out of it." And I actually have that first prototype. It's hanging in a case in my warehouse right now. I'll show it to you guys. That's one of them. Okay, so that's the first one that was ever made.
Okay.
And then this one, if you can see it, was prototype number two, which was an improvement. I'll tell you about the improvements. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so I gave her the fabric. I had the pattern now that I knew what it was, and so she made that scrub top, and it looked a little bit cooler and felt a little bit cooler. The fabric was a little bit off; it was pretty thick, and but I was like, okay, I'm kind of on the right path. And so now that I knew what a pattern was, I got on Amazon and I started looking for like workout clothing patterns. And I found like compression shirt patterns, like do-it-yourself compression shirts and workout clothes. And so I ordered those on Amazon, took it to her, and I was like, "Can you combine the scrub pattern with this workout shirt pattern and make like a proprietary pattern for us?" And that was that second one that I showed you. If you look at it, it's a little bit more like sleek fitting and like slender looking, like in on the
Yeah.
sides,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it's
Yep.
basically a better fabric and then a little bit more fitted. And then so I put it on. I was like, okay, this is more what I had in mind. It was like a compression shirt or a workout shirt, but with scrub features like pockets and had a scrub look. I was like, okay, we're on to something. And so that was like my first and second kind of like prototypes. And then I was like, okay, I have a cool prototype. How do I make thousands of these and sell them with no money as a pro college kid?
Yeah.
And so I just started researching a lot about manufacturing and supply chains, and just shot out like 100 emails to just random manufacturers around the world. I found some database on Google or something, like people that make clothes. I don't even know if I don't know. It may have been like on Alibaba or something crazy like that. Like back when
Yeah.
Alibaba was just getting started or becoming a thing. You guys probably know what that is.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
to
I've
yeah,
been down that road.
you
Yeah.
find all kinds of random stuff on there. But yeah, I think I found like a bunch, like some sort of manufacturer database, and I just or I just put together an email and just shot it out to like 100 people, and I heard back from like three, and because I was a nobody. But one of the ones I heard back from, I actually still work with to this day. I got super lucky, and I told him I was like, "Hey, I got a new idea. You guys make scrubs. This is a new type of scrub. Can we sign a NDA or non-disclosure agreement, and then I'll show you my designs, and then see if we can make some samples, and then get the ball rolling on this." And mind you, like I said, I didn't have any money. I mean, I had a little money, but broke college kid money, a couple grand maybe.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
and so they're like, "Yeah, sounds great." Sign the NDA. And I didn't even send them the samples. I just sent them images of them. I said, "We're looking to make scrubs that are better
Oof.
fitting, out of like four-way stretch performance fabric, lightweight, breathable, basically something you can work out in, like workout clothes, but scrubs. And I know you guys make scrubs. I know you guys are familiar with fabrics and textiles. Can you make it happen?" And they're like, "Yeah, we can try." And they made us a prototype, and it turned out really good, surprisingly. And they mailed it to me, and I really liked it at the time. It was my true minimum viable product. I've made so many improvements since then, obviously,
Mm.
but it was good enough to work. And that was my first lesson on fabric and like what really goes into fabrics in terms of like durability and like if
Yep.
somebody's going to be working in this and being exposed to stuff, and like how much stretch should you have, and like fabric makeups and stuff like that. Since then, I know a ton about textiles because I've worked with so many manufacturers and stuff. But at the time, I
Right.
just knew I wanted cool scrubs that stretched and looked cool and fit cool.
Yep.
And So they made me sample, sent it, and I said, okay, this is good enough. So I did a lot of research in the scrub industry in terms of like what colors people wear. And like there's 6 colors that make up like 70% of the whole entire scrub market. And it's basically the colors that people like have to wear that are mandatory at hospitals, like black, navy blue, gray, royal blue, stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I have no money. I'm going to start out with like 3 of these. So I got like 10 samples of these scrubs made in 3 different fabrics. It's supposed to be black, royal or navy blue, and maroon. The navy blue came out like super dark, and I ended up calling it midnight blue because it almost looked black.
Yeah.
And I've since then fixed that into a true navy, but got it in. We called it navy slash midnight blue or something, and then we had a maroon. And I got, like I said, 10 like 3 sets of each color basically. And my sister's a
Hmm.
photographer, and she does a lot of like family stuff, but she's really really skilled and really really good at what she does with Photoshop and everything. So I was like, I know you don't do product pictures, but can you take pictures of me and my friends in these scrubs, and I'm going to put them on a website, and we're going to see if we can sell them. And I didn't know anything about web design. I built my first website, which was terrible, on website builder through GoDaddy, which is god
Yep.
awful. Yeah,
Yep.
you guys probably know all this stuff. And then so I was like, well, this sucks, and I still have a picture of that website. It's so bad. And so I was like, this sucks. I need another platform. So then I went to Squarespace, and that was a little bit more user friendly, more drag and drop, and it was good enough to function and run and take money and have images that people could click on. And so we got all the pictures made, put them on this website, built it all out myself. Looking back, sucked as well, but good enough to work. And so I was like, okay, we have like 10 sets of scrubs. Um, how are we going to, like I said, get like 1,000 of these? So at the time, one of the books that I read was Damon John's book, Power Broke.
Mm.
Um,
Yep.
so since full circle, since then, I've actually become friends with Damon John. I've worked with him on a couple projects.
No
And
way.
yeah,
Wow.
he's a super cool dude. He was just in Oklahoma probably a year ago, and I stopped in and hung out with him at one of his keynotes. But how I got introduced to him was if you look behind me, like above me, there's a giant check. So
Yep.
I was the grand prize winner in the U.S. For the Bob Evans Heroes of CEOs Award, which is the biggest like national in the U.S. grant for veteran-owned companies. And part of it was a big grant, and then it's actually bigger now. I think the time I won, I think it was like 25 grand, but I think it's up to like 100 grand or something now. But part of it was
Wow.
mentorship with Damon John, and so I did a full mentorship with him, and we kind of hit it off, and he really liked me. And then I ended up doing a video for him for his Damon on Demand program. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's basically like his business 101 type stuff. But
Hmm.
if you YouTube Damon on Demand Benefit Medical or something, you can go look at it. I did a little review video for him, just showing how Damon on Demand helped me and stuff. So I've worked on him with a couple projects. He's hooked me up with a couple manufacturers since then that has been very helpful. He's got such a big network, and but yeah, so I read his book, and in his book, this was one of the 100 business books that I bought at the time that I told you on Amazon. And I wanted to read his books kind of first because he was in the apparel space as well.
Hmm.
And I read about, he tells a story about a guy that he was at a hotel in Vegas or something, and this 21-year-old kid, probably your guy's age, had valet pulled up in a Lamborghini or something, and he's like, how old are you? And he's like 22, and he's like, how do you afford this? And he's like, I'm an artist. He's like, I sell T-shirts online. And he's like, how are you so popular? He's like, well, I have an Instagram page of like 500,000 followers, and I just paint a new picture every week, and then I put that picture on T-shirts, and it's only available for that week. So it's a one and done sale of that exclusive item, and it's never going to be available again after that. And what he does is he paints the picture and says, okay, I'm doing pre-orders on this. Whoever wants it, buy it. I'll get them made and then ship them to you, and then they'll never be available again. So it hits all the psychological parts of exclusivity, urgency, just all the marketing
Hmm.
tactics you can do. And then he's got a super loyal following that loves his art and his uniqueness. So he was just banking on that. And what he would do was he would open pre-orders on them and basically do his own crowdfunding or Kickstarter just on his own with his own platform. And he would get pre-orders. They would just fund his production run, and he would sell 10,000 shirts at $20 a piece and make a cool 200 grand or something just in a weekend.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
just by painting a picture. And he was able to gather all that data because people would order 500 larges, 700 mediums, whatever, and so he would only print that many, take all the money that they pre-order with, print that many, keep the rest for profit, and that was just money put into his pocket. So
Wow.
I said that's a really good idea because I don't have any money. So all this time I was building up buzz and hype and doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff on Instagram,
Mhm.
and I didn't have a big. I had like maybe 7,000 people, just of people that I started interacting with and kind of building a little mini community and kind of building up buzz and hype. And so once I built my website, say, hey, we're doing pre-orders on this date. We're going to do these 3 colors. And then I just added an incentive of if you pre-order, you get 10% off, and then we'll give you like a free gift or something. Just added a little bit of freeness in there, and like you'll be the first to
Yep.
get these. It's our first run. Support a new veteran-owned company. Just added all the bells and whistles into it. And so I had the crappy website built with the crappy photography, and I had enough buzz, and I was like, okay, here's the true test. Let's see if people want these. So I hyped up the date. It was May 10th of 2016 was when I opened up. March 10th of 2016 was when I opened pre-orders, and I was like, I'm going to run them for 10 days and see if I can make like $5,000, do a first production run.
And is this before the 25,000
Yeah,
grand?
this was way
$25,000 grand?
before. Yeah,
Okay,
I didn't have any.
gotcha.
I won that in like 2019 or something or 2018.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I had no money, just enough to do basic business stuff and get creative with
Hmm.
things, really bootstrapping it. And so I opened up pre-orders after I built all the hype, got a lot of people hyped up about it. I hyped up the date and was like, they're only going to be open for 10 days. Once they're done, they're done. We'll put them into production. And margins on apparel are pretty good depending on what industry you're in and what you're making. So for every set of scrubs we sold, we could purchase essentially like 4 sets, and that's not including like overhead costs and marketing costs and stuff. So we have pretty decent margins. It's gotten a little bit tighter now just because we've increased the quality of our products, and obviously you throw in all the
Hmm.
marketing, overhead gets bigger, so margins are a little bit tighter, but still enough where we can grow pretty well. And so I opened up pre-orders, pushed people to the website just through Instagram. Really, I wasn't running any paid ads at the time, and in that 10 days of pre-orders, we generated like $60,000 in sales, and I was like, "Oh crap, people do want this." and,
Holy.
and yeah,
Jesus.
and
What
without
was
no
that like? Like you
dude,
must have been thrilled at that
no,
point.
dude, I mean that's the most money I've ever seen in my life at 25, to be honest, because I just come from
Yeah,
a
yeah.
regular middle class family, and I
Right.
thought $5,000 was a ton of money, and I was like, "Holy crap, people want this!" And so basically, what I did was I had all the numbers, all the smalls, medium, and larges that people wanted. And then I was like, all right, that's kind of where I'm going to go off of. I'm just going to triple that production run. And so I tripled that. And it took about 2 months, 3 months lead time, got them in, shipped all the pre orders out. They were happy because they got the discount, the free gift. I think it was a t shirt maybe, and like just a benefit workout shirt or something. And then,
Hmm.
which cuts into your margins a little bit too, obviously, but it's marketing. And they got their scrubs, they were happy, and then they just started posting everywhere online, check out this new company, check out these new athletic fitted scrubs, and everybody was just blowing up. And it's basically a,
Word of mouth
a
marketing right
free
there.
word of mouth sales
Yeah.
team, and just
That's
blowing up all
awesome.
over Instagram. And it just kind of took a mind of its own. And so after we did all the pre-orders, then I stocked our website with all the extra inventory, which was about 66% of the production run. And then within 30 days, we were already sold out of all that. And then we were already in all 50 states, and it just went crazy. And all the profit we took, I just kept rolling it back into the more inventory, more colors, more designs, and just kept doing that for about a year and a half. And it just that's how we grew from nothing. like I
So in a year and a half, you did that much.
So our first year from 2016, from March of 2016 to the end of 2016, I think we did like 400 grand. And then the next year, we scaled up to like 1.2 million. And this was, mind you, like
Wow.
with no funding, no investors, no nothing, not knowing what we were doing. And I was like, holy crap,
Right.
this is getting out of control. And it was
It's a good
basically
problem to
like,
have.
yeah, it's basically like anything. It was, I don't know if it was luck or, I mean, God, or it was a mixture of all of it, but it was just like everything we touched turned to gold, and we just kind of struck gold at a really good time in the market. And it was just a really good idea that we executed correctly on, and a lot of hard work and a lot of nights till 2 or 3 in the morning trying to figure things out
Yeah.
and not knowing what you're doing and just trying and asking questions and going to Google and YouTube.
Yeah. Now with an expansion like that quickly and like that to that big of a degree in that scale, what was the like customer service aspect like? Like how are you managing
So
that many customers at one time?
when I first, some of the books that I read, I learned the importance of systems and I learned the importance of customer service. And while I worked in the pharmacy world, my two pharmacists that were over me, like they would just drill customer service into me nonstop working in the retail pharmacy world. Cause you got to think you're dealing with crazy people coming in seeking drugs, all kinds of people wanting prescriptions that are overdue or late, or the doctor's not calling them in. So you have to have a lot of patience. And so I have a lot of patience when it comes to dealing with people by that
Yeah, yeah.
experience. And just learning that because once you start dealing with that many customers, it's like you have to have so much patience because some people are just insanely ridiculous and impossible to please. But you're just like, yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh. Oh, how can we make this better? And then those people, if you can convert them, they'll turn into your best customers because they're the loudest. And so you
Right,
take the
right.
loudest people that are maybe primarily angry for one reason or another and just show them kindness and love and like go over the top for them. And next thing you know, they'll tell their 10 friends, man, this company's awesome because they talk the most, they post the most on social, they're the loudest people who want their opinions heard the most. So you have to take the bad and turn it into good and utilize the crazy people for good.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding, huh?
And
Jeez. And like were there any like manufacturing issues with that first run that you did?
no, surprisingly, no. Everything was good. But like I said, that's when I started learning more and more about fabric. So the very first fabric I used, it was great. Everybody loved it. Some people still wear those scrubs today. It's like 6 years ago, and we don't have it. They're not. Our first line is called light protection because it was so thin. It was like pajamas, and it was like something you'd wear around your house, and that was still thin. And but it was cool. It fit well, and it was super soft and it was stretchy. But it was so stretchy and so thin. People started putting stuff in their pockets and would like weigh their pockets down and stretch too much.
Uh,
The fabric itself was good, but it wasn't as durable as I needed it to be because you got to think that when people are wearing scrubs 3, 4 times a week, they're washing them a lot, tons of washes. So after about 6 months, the fabric would start to pill. You know what that is?
yeah, yeah,
Where the
yep.
little balls start to form on the fabric.
Hmm.
So that started happening
Yep.
with our first fabric. So I was like, well, I guess we're switching fabrics. So I told my manufacturer about that. They found a new fabric for us, and then we basically discontinued our first line. Went to our next minimum viable product, which is a line we still sell called our Helix line. A little bit thicker, a little bit more durable. And at the time, since we had this really thin fabric, I was like, let's call this one light protection for people that like don't get as messy and work in chiropractic offices. Just they have to wear scrubs, but they don't need like protection. And then we'll release this next one and call it mid protection for people that get a little bit messier. It's a little bit more liquid repellent. And then we'll do like a super heavy protection, like a utility line, where people that are in the ER or the emergency room dealing with all kinds of crazy stuff, they need that rip stop proof, whatever. That was kind of my initial thought process based on where the company had started. But then I talked to my attorney about it, and he's like, well, if this gets really, really big, which it's starting to do, Under Armour's probably going to come after you at some point because you're an athletic clothing line using the word armor. And he's like, you just don't want to poke a sleeping lion, basically. I was like, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
And so we did not go down that route. Ended up calling them different lines, different stuff, medical type stuff. So came up with our Helix line, is what we called it, like the DNA Helix. And it was kind of like a
yeah.
fusion of everything that we'd done at that point. That's why we named it that. But then I realized,
I
or I
like
found
that.
out, so we had a bunch of cool colors, a bunch of bright, vibrant colors. But going back to my earlier comment, people can only wear 70% of people can only wear like 6 colors, even if they want to wear all the cool, bright colors like the neon yellows, the greens, the reds. And so those colors were good because they were super loud and they caught people's eyes for marketing. And a lot of people would look at those because they'd be purple cow stuff, and they would catch their eye and be like, "Oh, those are awesome scrubs. I can't wear neon yellow, but I bet they have those in black too." So it would draw people that couldn't wear the bright colors to our website anyway. And kind of got away from that whenever COVID happened because supply chains went straight to hell, as you guys probably have experienced at some level.
Mm, yep.
They're since then have gotten a lot better. And so basically what we did during COVID was we focused on all of those 6 core colors and made sure we had those stocked. And then now that that's over, I'm about to introduce a bunch more bright, cool colors and new designs and stuff just to go back to that initial eye appeal and catch people's eyes on the marketing side of things. But yeah, it's been a crazy journey. For the customer service question, like when I started the company, I wanted to know everything at a basic level at least. if you guys don't know this, or you probably do, like as you grow in business, just whatever you're good at or passionate about, focus on that and find people like whatever you suck at or don't like doing, hire that out. And
Yep.
because they're going to do it way better than you and they're going to enjoy doing it and not be miserable doing it. But at the beginning, you got to do it all yourself and it sucks. And
Right. Right. Oh yeah.
that's the grind. But it gives you a basic understanding of how everything works at the ground level. So I was like, well, we can do fulfillment by Amazon or a third party drop shipper or something. But if we do that, it's going to take the product out of our hands and the customer service side out of our hands. And they're going to take like 10 to 15% margin for doing the distribution for us. So I was like, whatever, I'll figure out how to do fulfillment by myself and open up a warehouse. So I launched out of a 1-car storage garage with one computer and a rack of scrubs and a printer and a label maker. And I was just pumping stuff out of a storage garage that I rented for like $50 a month. Quickly outgrew that. Moved to a different storage unit that was probably 5 times the size. Actually had a bathroom and an office, and so we got 2 computers, 2 printers, and a bunch of racks of scrubs. Quickly outgrew that. And now we're in our current warehouse, which is kind of close to my house. That's why I like it. And now we have tons of racks of scrubs and multiple fulfillment stations and stuff, and a lot of systems built. And it allowed us to keep all the customer service in hand because we were dealing with all of our terms and exchanges, could get them out quick, and we hand sign every note still to this day just because it adds a little touch. And it's a lot of those little things that they add up and go a long way because, like, even the hand signing of the notes, people would take pictures of those and post them on Instagram and be like, oh, like, this is such a cool company and doing stuff like that. And I learned that from other little smaller other e-commerce companies that I had purchased from, and like I'd get a hand signed note or something and be like, man, that's pretty cool. Like just that little touch, like I want to support that company. So there's just
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
many
No.
little touches you can do that go such a long way in terms of growing word of mouth and brand loyalty. And just putting all those things together consistently over a long period of time will really turn your company into a true brand and not just like a flash in the pan, if that makes sense.
Right, right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think just to add on to that, I mean, so we have a sales team. It's a smaller sales team. Obviously, right now
Yeah.
we're in the early stages of things. But one thing that we put emphasis on is the relationships with the distributors that we have. And one of the things that Dylan and I have experienced through communicating with these gym owners and managers and whatnot
Hmm.
is that a lot of the bigger companies like Bang Energy, Redcon, they have major customer service issues where they can't manage the day to day of like fulfilling these wholesale orders to these distributors. So I always put emphasis to the salesman is like be personable with the managers, be
Exactly.
personable with the owners. Like it goes a long way.
People
And
want to deal. Yeah.
obviously, I mean, you put emphasis on that though. Like as you grow, I
People
think it's
want to
so
deal with
important.
people that they like and give money to people that they
Right,
enjoy
right.
working with, and it goes a long way. And especially like you guys, 2 young go getters, like it'll go a long way with people, and they'll have a lot of respect for it. Like, man, these guys are
Yeah.
out here grinding and working their butts off. Like, we want to support their dream, not some big corporation that has a giant. Which there's nothing wrong with the big
Yeah.
corporations. They were all small in the beginning too, but just different parts of
Oh
the
yeah.
journey.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like from a so another reason why we wanted to get into the supplements is it's a reconsumable product.
Mhm.
So like you run out, you got to buy more. So now from the standpoint of that, obviously like so how long does like a scrubs usually last?
So the
If somebody were to use them like 3, 4 times a week, like you said.
so it's kind of consumable. So everybody understands that like any clothing, it's going to wear out over time, especially if you're working in it.
Yep.
So every hospital, for the most part, they'll give uniform stipends to their employees, like 300-500 bucks a year just to buy scrubs, and then
Uh,
so they can buy scrubs and turn the receipts into their employer, and they'll reimburse them or give a check or something. So they don't have to pay it out of their pocket. And so, like, for the beginning of the year, when they're all awarded these new military, or not military, uniform stipends, like January 1st, like, not just a little bit of marketing, like, we'll run a big sale or something, and people are like, oh, buy these, buy these. And there's so many things that you can do online to go in. Once you truly understand, like, population as a whole, I'm not talking about people that aren't massive consumers, but people that are consumers. Like, when are they online? When are they shopping? When are they looking to spend money? They get paid on the 1st and the 15th. They got extra money in their bank account. They're looking to buy their supplements. They're looking to buy their apparel, whatever it is. They're looking to buy gifts versus mid pay period. They're not going to have extra expendable income. So really understanding the cycle of people's income and like when they're looking to spend more money, um, running flash sales, running promos. Obviously, like Black Friday, everyone's looking to spend money. Run your biggest promos there. But when you're doing that stuff too, is properly planning it out and actually executing it correctly. Not just be like, hey, let's run a sale tomorrow and hope for the best. Like pump people up about it, hype people up, build the excitement up a month in advance or a couple weeks in advance for a Black Friday, and then so people are ready for it, they can put it in their calendars. And then you do an email blast or social blast, and everyone's already ready for it. They've already been primed for it, and then they just got to pull the trigger.
Right. So is the beginning of the year usually like your busiest time in terms of
So
pushing units?
so Black Friday's massive for us. It'll slow down a little bit. People will buy a lot of stuff for Christmas, and then yeah, beginning of the year. Not only because of that, but so like January is normally a big month for us because of that, and because of a lot of people are starting new school semesters and stuff and need new colors.
Ah,
And so a lot of students, kind of the space I'm getting into now. I just started designing custom scrub lines for universities, and so I'll get in
yeah.
touch with universities, offer them health and wellness type resources for their students as well. So that's another initiative. So the main initiative of the company, yeah, we sell scrubs that are awesome and they look better and they feel better and they're just a great product. But at the end of the day, my true passion is like getting people healthy and getting people to live out healthy lifestyles and just don't neglect their health, especially for healthcare professionals. They're so busy working crazy shifts, dealing with COVID
Yeah.
patients, dealing with BS all the time. Like they go through the ringer and then they got to manage their families on the outside. And there's a lot of jobs like that. But for my specific industry, that's my focus because, like, how do you get these people to take care of themselves and be healthy? Otherwise, they're going to die by the time they're 55 or 60 because they've been neglecting their own health, taking care of everybody else for so long. And so, just
I
like
know. Isn't that ironic how that works? Like
it's
it's
because
crazy.
people in healthcare, they're so selfless and they want to help people and save
Yeah.
lives. That's why there's a lot of females in it because naturally females are more conditioned to be loving and nurturing and take care of people and take care of others
Yep.
before themselves. And they do it to a fault where they start neglecting their own health. That's why same thing when females have kids, like they put their stuff to the side to take care of their kids. And so,
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. And like and it's hard too. I feel like it's the same thing though with the sacrifices that a lot of athletes make,
mm-hmm.
right? Like they train to the point of, there's this inverted curve where like, okay, it's beneficial to train, here we go, it's good, and then there's the overkill, you start going
Yep,
down after that where the
exactly. Start
benefits start going down.
overtraining and
It's like very
start
similar.
killing yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly. So like we went over the general story, right? The overview, and so obviously with every start to a company, there are some major obstacles that you go through. What would you say like was the one big thing that you dealt with up until
Um,
this point in time?
I would say my two major ones is and so when the company kind of took off and I started taking on business partners, it was a massive mistake because I because I had the vision. So you guys, I don't know if you guys are the only two business partners. If possible, just
Yeah, for the
just
yeah.
keep as little chiefs in the little chiefs in the or little chefs in the kitchen as possible. Because what happened with me is, and it was a good learning experience, was I was like, man, this is blowing up. This is fun. I want to take all my friends and family with me, and everybody come along for the ride. Because I'm a naturally very giving person. I'm not money driven at all. But what ended up happening is I brought all these people in, and like they were good friends of mine, and one of them was my brother. He's still around, no issues with him. But a couple of my friends, they just like, oh, cool, I'm a business owner, and like wanted to be cool and act like a business owner, and not realize like actually work comes with scaling a company. And then they're just like, all right, I'm a part of it. I'm just hanging out and enjoying all the cool business stuff and all the accolades and the money and whatnot. But they're like, I'm not going to do any more work, and so that's
Right.
kind of a lesson I learned. If they're not truly driven and passionate about the project, they just kind of become dead weight, and then they start having all kinds of crazy ideas, and you start bumping heads. And I'm like, this was stupid. And then like my attorney, which is one of my business partners to this day, still he was like, this is a bad idea. And I'm like, whatever, who cares? And so that was one mistake that I've
Yeah.
learned is like keep it lean. Uh, Even if you bring on an investor, I don't know if you guys have any investors or funding,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
even on that, and you guys have dealt with that probably, is like everyone starts to have opinions about things on how things should be run and the company should be ran and decisions that are made. And it's just like so many ideas start getting floated around, and the true like vision of the company can get blurred and kind of convoluted, and it just kind of turns to chaos over time. So just be weary of that since you guys are so young. And
Yeah, yeah.
so that was a good lesson for me. Kind of past that, it was a kind of a bumpy road and annoying for a while. And what happens is you start working your butt off. Like I was working my butt off and tail off, and to grow the company and scale it. And then a lot of resentment starts to build over time. And you're just like, man, these guys are worthless and they need to go. And it was just turned kind of toxic for a while. And it was a fun experience. It was a good life lesson that I learned pretty young enough to where the company got too big. And so we agreed on a mutual separation. They went off and did their own thing. And so it's been good since then. We're still kind of cordial, but it was just annoying at the time. And then
Right.
business mistake number two was so we got to where we were growing so quickly. We started opening up back orders on our website like, hey, this isn't in stock, but you can back order it and reserve your specific size and set, pay up money up front to reserve it. You'll get a discount too. It's similar to a pre-order, but just kind of like a rain
Mm-hmm.
check. And people were
Yep.
willing to put up money because our scrubs were so in such high demand to reserve it. And then so we would have production runs, and when we get production runs in, we would fulfill all the back orders. They would have top priority, and then they would it allowed us to scale quicker. But what happened was, as we were doing that, and then COVID hit, everything shut down for like a year. And at the time COVID hit and everything shut down, I had like thousands of back orders I had to fulfill,
Oh
and I couldn't get any
boy.
scrubs in. And the vast majority of people were very understanding because obviously it was a worldwide pandemic and every industry was
Right.
hit at some level. So
I know how you gonna anticipate that,
yeah,
right?
it's
Like,
something you can't plan for. But at the same time, like I don't do back orders anymore because it turned into a train wreck. Customer service and nightmare because it was like I would send PSA emails out like, "Hey, we're waiting to get scrubs. We don't know when we're going to get them. We wish we did. We want you to have your scrubs, but there's nothing we can do basically." And a lot of order cancellations for people that wanted scrubs then and there, like they needed scrubs now. Lots of people that just got tired of waiting. Lots of people that were just pissed off, like, "Man, what the heck? This has been like a couple months." And we're like, "Dude, like I don't know what to tell you." And so all of like after that all got fixed, I spent like a solid like 6 to 8 months like repairing all that damage and catching up on all the back orders and rebuilding relationships and momentum. So it was a good learning experience. I wouldn't recommend it. It was to the point where like we couldn't focus on the things we needed to do because we were getting like 50 emails a day of customers asking where their scrubs were and when are you restocking. Like it was just a
yeah.
nightmare, and I'm just like, dude, this is insane. And so, yeah, it was a headache for a while, and it was probably gave me a couple gray hairs.
Yeah,
Good life,
yeah,
good
yeah,
life lesson
right.
though.
I can only imagine. I know, but it's like I mean, once again though, it's like there's so many things. It's a perfect example though of something that is going to get thrown at you where you're not expecting it, and you're going to have to find a way to get around it.
Exactly.
Like it's inevitable. It's going to happen one way or another. Whether it's that or you run into a recession, you got to find a way to keep the business
Yeah.
running. Like we just talked about this on a recent episode with a guy whose name's Ted. He owns his own meal prep
Hmm.
service, and during the whole pandemic, like the restaurant industry, they had to find a way to let their business
Yeah.
thrive, right? Like in the long run without shutting down. So like I feel like it's one of those situations.
You just exactly, and back to my earlier statement, like you only lose if you quit. Like so many
Yeah.
people quit when times get really hard and throw in the towel. And it's like if you're a true entrepreneur at heart, you don't know the definition of the word quit just because you're like, well, here's another problem I got to fix, and it's just like every day you wake up and it's like problems, fix all problems. And
Yeah,
that's like what an entrepreneur is like, here's all these problems, fix the problems for the day and move forward.
we said the same thing. Like it's every day you wake up and it's like, okay, what problem am I solving today? Like
That's what it is.
what do I need to fix so I can continue to move forward? And it's just a repetitive cycle. And like it's, we talked about just staying disciplined and consistent with it. Like you can't stop or else that's what does you in.
Business is a
You
lot
just
like, yeah,
consistently
it's a lot like working out, like just discipline and consistency every day.
true.
And if you have the vision and you know where you're going, it's just like taking one step at a time. Because too many people, they try to eat the whole pie in one bite. It's just like, no, you just gotta take one bite of the pie at a time and just until it's done. And really it's never done because unless you retire or something. But
Right.
it's just, yeah, everyday grind, and you have to learn to fall in love with that process of just working your butt off and suffering and like like any of the great athletes will talk about it. They just talk about like they fall in love with the process of all the pain and the suffering and the hard work, and like they basically brainwash themselves being like, this is good for me. And doing that long enough over time, and like Kobe Bryant was one of the main ones. He was just like, dude, he was like brainwashed. Like he brainwashed himself into enjoying the suck, and that's how he became like so mentally strong and one of the greatest basketball players of all time, just enjoying it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And
and I
I feel
think
like, I mean, just on the point of athletes, real quick, Dylan, I just wanted to add on to that. Like, I feel like the athletes that end up endeavoring into business are the ones that end up being the most successful because of like what they've been through
Yeah,
the training process. They're mentally tougher, like they can get through those
they know
ups,
how much work it
you know.
takes.
Yeah, yeah,
mhm.
exactly.
And I was just going to add on real quick just about like, you know, the relationship between sport and business. And probably one of the biggest things is trusting the process. Like,
Yep,
you go to the gym, you work out, and you look yourself in the mirror after, what are you going to see?
nothing
Nothing,
exactly.
right? You do the same thing the next day, you're going to see nothing. You have to be able to trust the process and know that, okay, if I can consistently do this day after day, I will see the results. And that's applicable to running a business too. Okay, I solved this little problem today. How did that affect my sales? Well, it didn't. Okay, but eventually, after I solve enough of these problems and continue to grow, I will see the result.
Yeah, you just get better and you just learn what works and what doesn't work, and things are changing all the time. And like you mentioned, you have to just adapt to everything all the time, and it's just chaos
Mm-hmm.
all the time. But you have to learn to make it like a controlled chaos and have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And from the standpoint of like hard work, like you did mention that, and obviously that's a standard. Like if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to grow a business and scale it, like hard work is the baseline. Like
Yeah.
you have to have that at a minimum. So like from that regard, what were your days looking like when you first started the company? Like how long were you working?
So I tell people, I said, if you're willing to sacrifice like 2 years of your life just going through complete hell and like getting rid of all other distractions, you're going to lose a lot of social friends. Your family's not going to understand a lot of things unless they're really good and understanding, which mine was, thankfully. Um, and my wife was very supportive of it. Luckily, I started the company before I had my first kid, so it was a little bit easier. But yeah,
Mm.
wait to have kids if you're growing a business because it just is another curveball into it. But just like anything, you adapt. It's a different season. But and that's a whole nother. If you guys don't have kids yet, right?
No,
So
no.
if you plan on having kids, you'll see that it's a whole nother learning curve of finding that balance between work and life, like what truly matters. Because at the end of the day, yes, company thriving and money and success and whatever, that's all great and matters. But if you destroy your kid relationships or your wife relationship in the process, like what is it all worth in the long run? So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people never figure that out because they're workaholics, and it's okay to be a workaholic if you can still
Mm.
manage and find that balance and still make time to show up for your kids and still do the things for them and make sure you're around. And one of my mentors in the beginning taught me, he said to, as you're building a business, to involve your kids in the process. So like if I'm at the warehouse or I'm doing scrub stuff, my kids, they want to be up here and help me, or they want to see what's going on, or they want to know about the scrubs, just so they know why dad's gone and what the purpose is behind it, not just, oh, dad's gone again.
Right,
So,
right.
and I have a pretty good balance of like, I tell them because they're old enough to understand. They're about to turn 7, and then my youngest is 4. They're old enough to understand like if dad's gone now. So I try to prep them and balance like, hey, I'm going to be gone. Like you won't see me much for the next couple of days, but like when after that, then we can go do some fun stuff or something. Just finding that balance and
Right,
just
right.
making sure they understand why I'm gone and not just like dad's out at the bars drinking or something. So,
Yeah, which is honestly it's sadly the case though
well,
for a lot
for
of
sure,
people. So yeah,
people go to
yeah,
escape
no,
reality
definitely.
any way they can.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you mentioned at the beginning. So were you married when you first started this,
I
or
was. So I got married pretty young.
you were?
I knew my wife in high school. We didn't date in high school. After high school, I
Oh
did my
wow.
military thing. We were friends. And then we actually started dating like right before I left for boot camp. So I was like, this ain't going to last because we'd only dated for like a month or so. But she stayed with me through boot camp, came back, and then we started going to school together. And then we dated for 4 years and got married when I was 22. And then we had our first kid when we were
Wow.
26. So yeah, I got married, but at your guys' age. Yeah, so
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
married right before I deployed, came back, and I bought my first house after I deployed. So we had a house together, and we're married, and then we enjoyed married life for 4 years, traveled a little bit, did fun stuff. try to figure life out, and try to figure out our purpose and passion in life, and how to be a team and stuff, and go through that learning curve. And then that's when I started Benefit, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to do business. I'm supposed to help people and solve people's problems, and that was where I got fulfillment.
Right. Yeah. I mean, how like you mentioned balance too. Like I feel like there's just so many different things going on in your life specifically in terms of like you got well now you have your
Yeah.
bodybuilding, the military. You said you might be deploying again. Obviously, you're CEO of your own company. How do you wrap your head around that and like actually find a true balance to be able to divide and the equity into each category to a point where you're efficient in all of them and you feel like you're giving it everything you
So
have.
when I very first started the company and started studying business and like higher level entrepreneurs that had succeeded and achieved a lot, like I would try and look at their schedules and see where they spent their time and like how they did it successfully.
Hmm.
And I remember seeing, I forget who it was, but he had his days broken down in like 15-minute segments. And I was like, there's no way. No one is that structured. Like, no one breaks their day down in 15-minute segments and is that disciplined to hit every 15-minute marker towards that thing. And me, I'm just naturally very unorganized. Like, I've had to learn organization over time, but I just hate
Hmm.
it because I'm a very like sporadic, spur of the moment dreamer, thinker, visionary, just execute on all kinds of crazy stuff. That's just my personality. It's a very extreme personality. I don't recommend it, but if you can harness it, then it's very powerful. And like, so having extreme personality, like that's why I do bodybuilding shows, because if I don't do bodybuilding shows and like get into preps and be super hardcore and structured like that, I do like the complete opposite and like eat crap and be in a military culture. Like all through my 20s, lots of drinking involved, and don't recommend it. Very alcohol culture, and alcohol is fun, don't get me wrong, but it can be abused. And so just like if I'm not in prep, I'm out with my military friends having a good time and telling war stories, or just having social gatherings, whatever it may be. And over time, I had to learn that like there are no good benefits to alcohol in my life. It is fun, I will say that, and it is very fun socially. And a drink here and there, that's not a big deal. Talking about like we'd be like, let's go get hammered, and just that kind of like college
Yeah.
mentality. And
I was
Yeah.
just about to say that. Yeah.
yeah, like there's no, you guys are so young that your bodies can take that stuff. Like being over 30, if I drink excessively now, it's just like why? Like what have I done? And so I try, and the cleaner I eat and the more efficient I am with my workouts and stuff, like repercussions of having a couple drinks, it's nothing. But like if I'm
Yeah.
not eating healthy, if I'm not working out, if I'm not doing all that stuff, and then if I had like a couple drinks, I'd be like, man, I feel like crap the next day. I don't feel like doing anything. I'm not motivated. My chemical balance is off. I had really crappy sleep. It's just like a domino effect.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
if you are going to drink, just find a good balance in that too. That's I try to recommend that to people because, like I said, all through my 20s, I drank quite a bit in the social settings and the business settings and the military settings I was involved in on a daily basis.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it is like it's one of those things too that you start to realize the more that you become an adult, the more that you grow as an individual. Like especially if you're becoming an entrepreneur. Like Dylan and I, we actually both play college
Oh,
sports. We're both
awesome!
in college right now. We both play hockey. So like the balance is hard. And if you throw alcohol into the mix, you're taking away a whole
Oh,
day out of the week
dude,
essentially of
yeah,
productivity. You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
So it's like
Mhm.
yeah.
It's good for
But yeah.
celebrations and special occasions, but
Oh
as long
yeah.
as it's not abused, you're fine. But man, we
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
abuse it.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny. You said you're like, an unorganized person at heart,
Yeah,
right? Like your personality when you first started or whatever. But you look at, military and bodybuilding are two things that take extreme discipline and organization of
yeah.
structure on a day-to-day basis. Like, is that something that you did on
And
purpose or like it's
maybe I'm
just
too hard on myself. But like through my
yeah.
20s and like early 30s, I have learned that like for me to be my best version of myself and efficient and consistent, like it's about checking off little boxes to start your day and just little things, and even down to making sure you brush your teeth in the morning every day consistently. And I know that sounds stupid to a lot of people, but like brushing your teeth, flossing, just little things that you're like, all right, small victory. And then getting your workout in,
Yeah.
getting your first healthy meal in, taking all your supplements like you're supposed to, doing sauna time, stretching like you're supposed to. And this is talking in the bodybuilding world of things. And like, so
Mm.
before 7:30, I already have 10 core tasks checked off of my day that I've already accomplished. And then like I start my day with victories and I just build momentum off of that. So even if for whatever reason I get a curveball thrown at me and my wife calls me and I got to go pick up the kids or whatever and do something, I've already accomplished quite a bit of stuff. And I'd be like, okay, this wasn't a wasted day. It just was different than how I planned it. If that makes sense. And
Right.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
As I've gotten better in business and learned all the bad things and not to do and time wasters and distractions like sucking your screen off your phone and stuff like that, just scrolling TikTok for an hour or whatever, just like slowly cutting those things out of your life and realizing that there's an entertainment value to them, but like what can I be doing with my time that would be more beneficial than this, because I'm never going to get this hour back. Do I want to waste it watching funny videos about cats on TikTok, or do I want to spend it reading a book? Or and so just starting off my day with like I said, all my workouts, my meals, and a big thing that I've gotten really good at too is as I've gotten more into the competition world stuff is like that last 30 minutes of the day, like planning out my whole entire day the next day. And so if there are
Mm.
curveballs, and so like, and you guys can probably attest this, if you don't prep the night before, like if you don't have your workout clothes ready, your meals prepped, you're going to wake up, say you wake up 30 minutes late and your whole day is kind of off by 30 minutes and you're scrambling around because you're about to be late for class or something. You're going to end up eating some crap on the way because you didn't plan for it. You're going to forget your workout clothes and you're not going to make the gym because you don't have a change of clothes and whatnot. It just like spirals out of control. So I spend the last 30
Yeah.
minutes of my day like, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? And I'll ask my wife too, like, okay, what's on my schedule for tomorrow that you need me for? And then I'll just kind of build off that and be like, okay, I need to set all my workout clothes, a change of clothes after I work out, make sure all my supplements are ready to go, make sure whatever I'm putting into my body meal-wise is ready to go so I don't have to think about it. And I eliminate tomorrow's decisions the night before, like 10 of them. So that's 10 more decisions I don't have to make the next day that I can focus on other things.
Yeah. That's smart. I mean, a lot of people, they, like you said, they kind of go with the
Yeah.
flow, right? Like they wake up, they're like, okay, I gotta eat breakfast at some point. I'll watch some videos
Yeah.
first. But I feel like when you actually put a task at a certain time, it's like, okay, you're more inclined to actually accomplish that. I mean, everybody, I feel like a lot of people are advocates for planning your day out, you know what I mean? But when you actually break it down on why, it makes a lot more sense than just saying you need to plan your day. Like a lot of people are just gonna be like, yeah, forget,
Yeah.
forget that, right? But yeah, and one thing I took out of what you were saying too is like, you have all these things going on. You have kids, you have your wife, you have a family, right? And you know, owning your own business, bodybuilding, being an athlete, like in order to function at your max capacity and bring out the greatest opportunities of that next day, you have to feel focused, you have to feel
Yeah.
energized. How much sleep do you get? Like
So
how do you manage your sleep
I've
schedule?
done like I haven't like done sleep studies on myself, but I've studied other people's sleep cycles and schedules. And you probably have heard like so and so wakes up at 2 in the morning and works for 6 hours. Like
Yeah.
you guys have heard it all, I guarantee it. So it's all about finding what works for you. And for me, like I'm a night bird by nature. I don't know if it's the military in me or what. I've gotten better at it over the years, but it used to be like I would go to sleep at like 1:30 and wake up at like 5:30 and be like ready to go. But
Holy.
over time it'll kill you. I don't care what anybody says. I'm a pretty
Yeah,
highly
seriously.
functional person, and that'll kill you over time. So my optimal time is like right at around like 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep. If I get too more than that, then I'm actually more tired and more fatigued. Like getting into that
Wow,
second
okay.
into the REM cycle, like you'll wake up even more groggy if you're not used to it. And so I'm sure you guys have heard like don't look at your phone an hour before bedtime, like blue light, don't watch TV an hour before bedtime, like all that stuff. It does make a difference.
Yeah.
So I've kind of built in, so like after I do my little 30 minutes of prep with all my night before stuff, like I'll do one last check on social, one last check on everything, and then I'll try and turn my phone off. And my wife likes to watch stuff at night, and I used to watch stuff at night all the time. We used to watch shows, whatever Netflix or whatever we're streaming. And I've gotten better about not doing that and trying to be like, okay, 10:30 is a hard stop for me. Which you guys don't have kids, you guys are in college. It's gonna be different than you. Like when I was your age, it was like, all right, 12:30 is a hard stop for me. Like just whatever. And just like there was no structure, and just learning as I got older the importance of the structure and like sticking to the routines and habits. And I had a mentor of mine as well, where he was like the dude's like a robot, very highly successful individual, the leader of a massive corporation. And I asked him, I was like, dude, how do you like do that? Like every day, how are you a robot every day? Because like you can be a robot for a day or two, but then you're like, man, I'm tired of this. Like I was like, how do you do it every day of your life? And he's like, practice. It takes a lot. He's like, I wasn't like this 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It takes a lot of practice, lots of habit building, lots of rehardwiring your brain, the neural pathways, and be like, okay, here's my day. This is what I do. Anything out of this, I don't do it. I don't spend my time. I don't get distracted. I don't do this. And you don't get like that
Yeah.
overnight. Like it's a lot of practice. So anytime you see a super, super highly driven, successful person that is a freak, like they're born like that to an extent, but they put stuff into place where they've trained, just like training for anything. It's like 20 years of becoming that person. And a lot of younger
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, like you guys or like me at the time when I was 23 or 25, I had to realize like all these guys I was looking up to that were highly successful and had massive companies, like they've all been through so much crap and done so much stuff and made so many mistakes and failures and learned a lot of stuff. The self-made ones, people that started companies from scratch and really have taken the hard route,
Hmm.
like you don't ever see their full entire journey, but like their journey up to that point has created them to what they've become basically.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, I look at kids mine and Joy's age, obviously, your early 20s, you really see a range in maturity
Oh, big
levels.
time.
And, it's a turning point in, what people are going to do with their
Yeah.
lives. Some are finishing college. For Joy and I, we played junior hockey. I'm not sure how familiar you are with that realm of things, but basically we played 3 years of hockey after high school before we go into college. Um, and yeah, you just see such a range of maturity. And, I look at some of the kids that, maybe aren't as mature as us, not to pat ourselves on the
Yeah.
back, Joy, but and some of the kids they think they can just flip it like a switch and, oh, they'll get everything together. But it's like, no, like I've been like this since middle
Yeah.
school, like practicing these habits, my work ethic, everything, training, eating, sleep routine, sleep habits. And like you said, it's built over time. It's not just something like, oh,
I'm gonna do
I'm
this
a
one day.
freshman in
Yeah.
college. Guess I better, yeah, got to figure this out today.
You
Like
got you guys are so
I
far
look at,
ahead of the curve that I don't even think you probably understand in terms of where you're at 22-year-olds. Most 22-year-olds, including myself, was like, where are we drinking? What are we eating? What are we watching? Like that's on the agenda basically, not bigger picture stuff and starting companies and trying to
Right.
make an impact. And you guys are fairly new into the game, but you stick with it 3, 4, 5, even until you're 30, maybe. A lot of people just don't look at the long game and they don't realize that great things take time. You do them the right way, and they just don't have
Hmm.
the patience for
mm-hmm,
it. They want that instant gratification, and it's just not going to happen in business if you do it the right way. And like I said, most of the big business guys that I follow and talk to now, and a lot of them mentor me or that I've built connections with over the years, takes 20, 30 years, and it's because they love the process and they just
yeah,
love the journey of solving problems every day. And you wake up and something new is every day, and you have to love that. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the crazy thing is too, and we just talked about this on the last episode, is they don't teach
Nope,
resiliency and how to face adversity in the schooling
no,
and higher education, whatever it might be. It's just not taught. But that's like one of the biggest keys to actually making it in the
yep.
business world as an entrepreneur, as anybody really, if you really think about it.
It's like the differentiating factor in terms of who makes it and who doesn't is resiliency. Like I said,
Right.
that no quit mentality.
Yeah.
And be like, well, this did not go the way we planned, and this sucked, and we just lost 100 grand. Well, on to the next problem. I guess we better figure it out. Otherwise, we're screwed. And so
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
happen, and you just
Yeah.
gotta. It's really all about mindset and perspective too. Like you have to have a very strong mental fortitude. And whenever crap like that happens, you have to be like, I don't know why this happened like this, and it sucks. But something good's going to come out of it. I just don't know what yet. And so if you look at things like that, random doors will start to open. But if you have a victim mentality and a negative mindset about things like this is bullshit, why is this happening to us? We did everything right. Then you turn into that victim, and then things just continue to go wrong.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, and you'll never find it. You dig yourself your own
Yeah,
grave,
exactly.
essentially, like with the negative mindset. Yeah, it really is crazy. But I mean, we're going on an hour and 10 minutes here. Usually we try and keep them to like around an hour, but I do want to hear some of your goals for, the next like 3 to 5 years or even longer. Any goals that you have in mind right now where you want to take your business or your own personal life, whatever it might be. That's usually how we like to end off our
So yeah, kind
episodes.
of my three major business slash personal goals is I want to get my pro card as a natural competitor. So I do natural shows, natural men's physique.
Hmm.
Um, can't do any hard drugs being in the military. Nothing against them. I mean, you got to do them to be at the top at the Olympia level. They're all on that stuff, which
Yeah.
they're
Oh
a
yeah.
little bit safer and a
Yeah.
lot smarter about a lot of stuff now. Most of them, but because I'm not friends with a bunch of the higher level competitors. Yeah, if you guys ever need
Hmm.
interview people, athletes, I know a lot of high end men's physique guys that I can refer to you guys to.
Absolutely. We would
Or
love
just
That'd be
that.
or just
awesome.
business. I mean, I have a lot of connections just that I've met through time. So hit me up on DM sometime and be like, hey, do you know anybody that want to be on our podcast? And I'll see if I can recommend you some
Yeah,
guys that are always happy to help and
For
talk and
sure.
just
absolutely.
good,
Thank
genuine
you.
people. But yeah, I still want to get my pro card. I'll probably do a show before I deploy, see if I can grab it. If not, I'll see if I can get it when I come back. I've done two shows. I've learned a lot from both of them. I did a lot better in my second one, just taking my time a little bit more. So my first show was like, I want to do a bodybuilding show, and so hopped on stage and did good. I got top three, and then yeah.
Oh wow.
And then I did my second one. I did like a full with my coach. I did a full actual full year long prep. So I did a full mini cut recomp, and then I did a bulk for 4 months, and then I did a 4 month kind of slower cut, a little bit smarter, where you don't lose as much muscle. And people don't understand like it was a year long process, but that's what time. I mean, this is what it takes like to get like that if you're going to do it right. So I finished top three again in my
Yeah.
second show. So, but the guy that beat me I actually became really good friends with. I follow him on Instagram now. He was actually plant based. He just shredded. So I was bigger than him, but he had better conditioning than me. So I was like, man, I need to get on that plant based stuff. But not really. But so yeah, I still talk to him. I don't know. He's bulking right now, but I'll try and do one more show. Come in with a little. My main goals is to bring my chest up a little bit and a little bit better conditioning on my core coming into it. So I'll do a little bit longer cut.
Mhm.
See if I can get a pro card before I leave. If not, I'll get it when I come back. Company side, like I said, we have a lot of new products coming out. I have 6 new colors coming out in our newest scrub style. I've changed the design up a little bit, added more pockets and more features that a lot of customers have been requesting to get kind of like that energy back into our company in terms of like bright colors and momentum now that all the COVID BS is done. And then also on the company side is for the health initiative side of things, I'm starting a new program, and we've done transformation challenges in the past for healthcare professionals. Small entry fee, they do it. Winner gets years worth of scrubs, all kinds of cool prizes and stuff, just to motivate people to get healthy. But this time around, it's going to be.
Right.
You guys ever heard of 75 Hard? So
Yes,
similar to
Yes.
that,
yes. Amy
My
yeah.
Frisella.
girlfriend did that challenge. Yeah.
So he's a buddy of mine to a little bit of level. I've talked to him a couple times, but I really like that program. So I wanted to build one kind of similar, not knock it off, but similar for healthcare professionals. And basically anybody that can, and it's only gonna be 60 days, but it'll be similar. Just like, hey, do this, apply this, build this discipline, transform yourself. Hold on, mind and body, and just kind of be a better version of yourself. And if you complete it and you're honest about it, obviously it's going to be on the person to say if they cheated or not. But if you complete the 60-day program, anybody that does it's going to get a free set of our scrubs and a free benefit 60 coin. So challenge coins are big in the military, so it kind of ties into that. So just kind of like an incentive of like,
That's
hey,
awesome.
be a better person, better version of yourself, eat healthy, fill your mind with good stuff, fill your body with good stuff, be more productive human overall, and realize that you have so much potential. You're just wasting it by putting crap in your body and not focusing and
Mhm.
not having discipline. Build some discipline, go through this process, level up, and then get a free set of our scrubs just for doing it, just for becoming better. And in hopes that we're going to get a lot more people bought into our brand identity and just kind of get really bought into like what we're all about in terms of promoting health and wellness to healthcare professionals.
Right. That's freaking awesome. I love to hear stuff like that. Like we're honestly, it's the same reason why we're in business is just in helping other people. I think if you're not in it to service others and to benefit the person next to you, you're in it for the
Yeah,
wrong reasons, right? Like a lot of people are just chasing money,
you
and
people
gets
that
bad
chase
like
money,
that.
they don't, they can get a quick flash in the pan sometimes, get a quick buck, but it'll never last. If you're in it for other reasons, to help people, to be make the world a better place, to make a difference or an impact, the money just comes with it. Like you'll just see doors will start to open, and people, especially people higher up, they know bullshit from real people and your motives, and be like, you know what, these guys are working hard, they're kicking butt, they're trying to help people, like let's give them a chance, or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like people who are in it for the money too, like those are the ones that dwindle out in the beginning because more often than not in entrepreneurship, the money
Yeah,
ain't there
I
in
didn't
the
pay
beginning,
myself the
right?
first
Like
like 2
it's,
years of this company. Yeah, just rolled everything
yeah,
back into it.
exactly. Like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then if you do pay yourself in the first couple of years, like that just slows the
Yeah,
growth of your company. As simple as that.
you gotta
So,
learn to live on a
um,
tight budget and just pour everything back in the company to scale it quicker.
right, right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Well, I'm blown away by this whole story. I feel like we're just kind of scraping the surface on a lot of different topics. I'd love to dive more into the bodybuilding side of things. On another episode down the
For
road,
sure,
or when you come back from a deployment or something like that. We'd love to have you back on.
Hmm.
But honestly, it's awesome talking to people like you because it gives something a model for people like Dylan and I, because I know Dylan thinks the same way, to strive for and to ultimately
for
reach
sure,
for in
man.
the
You
end.
guys are, like I said, you
So
guys are gonna do big
some
things. You're already way ahead of the curve. If you're already starting out early 20s, you just got to be patient and trust the
yeah,
process, just like we talked about. Next thing you know, you'll be
I
all
appreciate
over,
that.
and then you'll be collaborating with big names, and who knows, some bigger company might buy you out or something.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, and thank you so
Yeah, it
much
was
for
good
coming
chatting with
on.
you
And
guys.
we look forward to we look forward to following along your journey. All right, so we just wrapped up that amazing interview with James Reynolds. Um, that was that was a very kind of like it was like a I was taken aback by the interview in itself,
Yeah.
in that like
That was one of my favorites.
yeah, I mean it felt like every like there were a few things he said I was like, and then the next sentence was like, oh my god, like even bigger than the one before. You know what I mean? It was just one of those episodes, and like you were just saying off air too, like how quickly he grew his company is, I think that's the exception, right? Like he somehow found a niche market to get into at the right time,
Yep.
and it just worked so perfectly for him. Obviously, the trials and tribulations are going to come with that regardless, right? Like obviously, he mentioned that he would dealt with some things, but that's the creativity aspect of entrepreneurship, right? Like he found an opportunity and he took it
Yep.
full on.
And that's inspiring. Like he started in the same boat. He started from nothing. He had no money. It was just him. Like that was just like us. We have no money. He's talking like a broke college kid, a couple grand. Broke college kid. I doubled my bank account statement with $100 e-transfer from my grandparents. Like I have nothing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you look what he did, and 2 years he didn't pay himself. They cleared 1.2 million. He didn't pay himself.
I know,
Like
I
that's
know.
crazy.
Well, that's the thing that people don't realize too. Like, and you mentioned like you're fucking broke as hell, like whatever. Like I'm the same thing, but the thing that people don't realize is like you have to reinvest in your company. Like the money it makes,
Yeah,
it's got to go back in. It's got to go back
yeah.
in, or else it's not going anywhere. It's simple as that. Um, and a lot of people they get into the entrepreneurship, they get into like starting a business to experience like instant success and like, oh, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna pop off, it's gonna blow, a viral video is gonna make me millions of dollars. Yeah, the off chance, like the 0.0001% chance that actually does, good for you. Congratulations. Like you did it,
Yeah.
but is that gonna bring you long-term happiness, long-term fulfillment? That's arguable. I don't think it would. If you just strike success right there for no work or anything like that. Like he mentioned multiple times too, like it's in the process. And he
Hmm.
related back to a bunch
Gotta
of
fall in love
athletes
with
like
it.
Kobe Bryant. Yeah, if you're not falling in love with the process and the shit every single day, the win in the end, and the service to others, the response you get from your customers and the people that you serve, it's not going to be worth as much. Simple as that.
Yeah, 100%. That was an unbelievable episode. He was just like such a chilled out guy,
Yeah.
knowledgeable, very helpful. Like wants to. You can tell like he cared about us. Like he wanted to help us. So that's great to see. That was awesome.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like kind of the track that he was headed on. um, it's interesting to see how he ended up where he is now and how he actually got his knowledge. And I think the thing that I always turn back to is like the knowledge is a self-discipline. Like it's up to you what you want to learn, how much you want to learn of that, and how intelligent you actually want to be in different aspects, right? Like some people,
Mhm.
yeah, they want to be a doctor. They're going to study, in school to become a doctor. They're not going to be well versed in business, I can tell you that much, right? So it's like, what are you going to allocate your time into? And I feel like that's what he has done well and figured out how to do, and the balance aspect of things, which I haven't figured out, right? Like balance is for me is the most difficult thing to do, and to figure out how to allocate your time properly to be able to invest yourself into each category to the point where each one's operating at a fully functional base, you know?
Yeah, and it's only gonna get harder. It's not gonna get easier. I mean,
Oh
look,
yeah,
he's got a
no.
wife and kids. Like, yeah,
Yeah. And that's why the first thing that came to mind when he said all that stuff, I'm like, dude, do you even sleep? Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, what do you just drink caffeine all day? I wish I asked him if he drinks any like
We'll
energy drinks
hook
or
him up.
coffee or anything like that. Yeah, we'll definitely have to send him something
We'll
for
reach
sure.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean overall it's a crazy episode. I'm so psyched to break this thing down into snippets and give
Oh my
you
God,
know,
you can make snippets for days with that. There's so many,
yeah, I know,
like,
it's
just
awesome.
little tidbits, knowledgeable little clips, insightful, informative, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys can listen to this episode on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Those are all the main ones, and obviously any other podcasting platform like Podbay and a lot of similar platforms like that. We'll be posting the snippets on our Instagram. It's our main social media platform. You can follow us at underdog_brand. His social media links and websites will be in the description, so you can buy yourself some scrubs if you want. I might honestly, he convinced me. I might buy myself some scrubs, honestly, like,
Oh, buy him to
for
work
no
out in.
reason at all. Yeah, yeah, buy to work out. You see me squatting at the squat rack with some scrubs on. But yeah, that was awesome, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Thanks for listening.